Hey everyone, it's Andy here. Today I'm just going to give an update on the Georgia Department of Labor, the unemployment programs. I've been getting a lot of comments on the forum page I have for this area, and I thought I'd give an update on some key topics that a lot of the commenters are providing, and also I'll provide some helpful responses to some of the common questions I'm getting and just give you a sort of theme. I'll also make sure I look at the extension of UI benefits that are going to affect a lot of Georgians and what the status of that is. And I have a whole separate video on that, but I'll briefly touch on that. And then the payment issues is where I'll go and touch a little bit more around some of the common gaps I'm seeing, common questions I'm getting, and maybe give you some ideas on how to resolve those, why they're happening, and who to contact. So without further ado, let's talk about the lost wages program. So that was that $300 payment update that was being funded for 6 weeks from first week of August to end of September. That program is now complete. It's all been paid out for the 6 weeks. A lot of people I know are still struggling to get their payment, and they're in the process of fighting with the DOL to figure out where it's happening. This is on top of the PUA Pandemic Unemployment Assistance and the PEUC program Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation. But lost wages sort of replaced the original 600 FPUC program, and I know a lot of acronyms, but I'll show you where to see some of that information. But the lost wages is done. I know some people didn't get the $300 for every week, and you have to go back and check that you certified correctly because every week was individual. But I'll touch on that a little bit more. But just to give you a quick update, a lot of people are trying to find out the latest updates. The Georgia DOL site does have some good information, and especially around the FOQs. I do strongly suggest you go visit it. I'll show it to you here right now, and I'll come back to it shortly. So if you look at the website here, dol.georgia.gov, and I'll post the links below. Always check the official site, no matter where you get your information. Ultimately, that's the source of truth, and that's where you can access your information. But I like this site because it does lay it out in the homepage for COVID-19 resources, what's going on here. But you can see here that the last update was November 12th, which is frustrating because we're almost a month past that, and there's been no other updates. But you can see here the lost wages program is done now. So that was the big program where if you made $100 in existing benefits, you got it. This is now the funding for this was only for 6 weeks from FEMA. It was meant to go through the end of the year, but um, as you see here, it's only available for 6 weeks, right? So this program is done, and your portal should have shown your eligibility, and you had to make an attestation that you were due to COVID if you weren't on the PUA program. And so that was one of the big reasons people didn't get paid. They forgot to certify, but this is done, and it's all done. The like I mentioned before, the FPUC program, the $600 payment was the earlier one, which was actually also finished. That finished back in July, but retroactive payments for that were being made until sort of the end of September, actually. But again, that program is done. So the LWA and the FPUC are what they call supplementary unemployment benefits. That means above and beyond your standard state benefits or those provided through the enhanced programs like pandemic and unemployment assistance. So PUA or pandemic unemployment assistance was really to cater for those individuals who did not get benefits before COVID, who did not have a W-2. Essentially contractors, gig workers, which are a larger and larger part of our economy today. But the PUA essentially provided state level benefits funded federally for these individuals. And that program is probably the widest used right now. Unfortunately, it also has experienced the most fraud because you don't have to show your income, or finding income is hard to prove if you don't have a regular W-2 employer job. Um, that program is underway as well. And in addition, the PEUC, which is really just providing an extra 13 weeks of benefits to individuals who already get state benefits. So basically, if they get 26 weeks of benefits, this adds 13, so it gives a total of 39, which almost makes it the same as PUA. So these two programs really provided that extension of benefits, whereas LWA and FPUC provided supplementary benefits above and beyond these. The one big thing coming up, and my next topic I want to make sure I go back to here is extension of UI benefits. So obviously LWA and FPUC are finished, but PUA and PEUC do also expire at the end of December. So whether you have weeks left, if you lost your job in July, August, even if you don't hit the 39 weeks, at the end of December, the week of December 26th, those benefits will actually end unless Congress extends funding for those programs. And that's a big debate. And there's another video on extension of UI benefits that's happening right now in Congress. But unless those benefits are extended, those programs will also expire, meaning, potentially a million Georgians will lose these extra benefits they get, or in fact, they won't even get regular state unemployment because they would have used up their original base weeks. So that's a big deal, and I think that's something that's going to have to be monitored a lot over the next few weeks. Um, and finally, the biggest one, and I'll go through some of the Q&A here, is the payment issue. So there is no secret that it's been a challenge for the GDOL to process all these claims. The surge has been magnitudes above what normal is, and systems have to be updated for these new federal programs. The Department of Labor at the federal level has mandated how these programs should run, so the Georgia Department of Labor has had to implement those. Unfortunately, like most states, the unemployment systems are old and antiquated, and so updating those has not been easy. So there've been a lot of people facing payment issues because of that. And then on top of that, there's been a lot of fraud. I mean, a lot of people, especially for the PUA program, where it's hard to prove income, or the checks have been low because the government has been keen to get this money out to deal with the COVID outfall. There's been a lot of fraud, which has meant that the agencies have had to put in lots of checks and balances in place in their systems, and a lot of legitimate people have not been able to get the benefits because of this fraud. So, the fraud and the systems have caused a lot of the delays, but there's also some basic stuff that I think people can do to make sure they get their payment in time, at least find out where their payment is at. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. So, one of, like I said before, the PUA pandemic unemployment assistance is by far the biggest program being used right now, and probably the one that has the most challenges in terms of confirming eligibility and making payments. So a lot of the comments I'm getting is, hey, they don't know what's happening, or they got one letter. But just to be clear, and this is on the GDOL website, which I showed earlier, and I'll post a comment below this video on that. But you'll get a benefit determination letter, which is only just a calculation for what you could get. It does not mean that's what you're going to get. You must then also receive what they call the PUA claims examiner's determination, which says that if you are approved or denied. And if you're approved or denied for regular state unemployment, that's when you can actually get the PUA, because the logic is let the state unemployment pay eligible people first, because we've all paid our taxes into that. And then if those people don't get that, then they qualify PUA because they probably aren't a regular W-2 or have a standard employer. So they will then receive those people that have gone through and applied for the normal employment. They get a denial. They go with those letters. Then they will get a link on their UI portal to apply for PUA, and that's when they apply for PUA. That process has taken some time, weeks and days at times, and people don't get the link or the text. But you need to look at those things. But if you've done all those things correctly and you followed the instructions on the website, again, I'll put links below the video, and I'll show you the form as well. If you don't receive a letter after 15 to 21 days, that's when I think you should really start calling the GDOL or go to your local office, because unless you do those steps, you'll find you don't even if you go to the office, they'll say you haven't done that. So check those things, and you'll see a lot of the comments I got were around not following the process. If you follow the process, you've done those things, that's when I say you can contact the GDOL. So they do have, office locations around the state that you can go visit. But then if you want to call them, I know in COVID not everyone wants to go in person to a place. You can call them at, I'd say the numbers below, the GDOL unemployment insurance, 404-232-3001 or 877-709-8185. Those are the numbers that will get you help. And then you can also call a general number, because I know some people have tried calling the general number and they seem to get through to a live person a bit more effectively. That's 404-232-3990. The other one is around backdated requests, and this is for PUA and potentially PEUC and others. You do need to submit written forms to your local career center, and those are on the GDOL website, and I'll post a link to that. But you need to fill in a form, DOL 5158. Again, the links are there on the official site. Do not follow links that are from unofficial places, because it is capturing a lot of information that you need to ensure that is sensitive, your social security number, and also just go to the website to collect it. What's really important though is that you include the reason why your claim should be backdated. It has to be not I forgot. It has to be something legitimate. The requested effective date of that claim, and don't try and go too early or too late. This will be checked, so you want to make sure this is accurate, and any other pertinent information. So if there's specific reasons, or COVID had an issue, you can apply. Be specific there because this is verified, and if you get caught up on a fraud claim, then this could take longer. So make sure you use this form to apply for the backdating. It's the fastest way than versus just trying to call someone. Hopefully you work through it because they'll ask you to fill in this form. And what's finally worked for a few people, and again, this I think is it depends how your state senators or your local representative contact them, their office, Google the wherever you live, your local state senator or your representative. They can actually help you, and a lot of people have said that they've contacted them, and a few days later they get movement on their claim or their payment. I don't know how effective this is because they probably have to follow the official channels as well, but this I think just helps. They're getting a lot of claims. They can probably help you streamline the process. But this some people have said this has worked for them. So give it a shot. But hopefully these are the sort of four big areas. I have a lot more Q&A on the forum page for this site, which I'll post below. If this information was useful for you, please like or subscribe to this channel, and I'll post another update in a few weeks as I get more questions. Thanks, and leave a comment below, and I'll try getting back to you as well.